Welcome to In Touch Crime Beat. I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson.
Out of jail, okay? Don't mess up.
And those are the people, those repeat offenders, the ones that go to prison. And
I say we're the #1 rated radio show in the whole country.
Welcome to In Touch. This is Crime Beat. I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson. Property crimes this week, the non-violent property crimes, as they buzzed them up a little bit. Doesn't sound as bad. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. You've got some stats there that are sort of interesting.
well, you don't like statistics.
No, I don't. But that's a big number that you're flashing around right there. Tell us about it.
Well, property. You know, there's a lot of metal theft going on in town. You were telling me a little bit before we started talking on the radio that catalytic converters cost how much to repair?
Anywhere from $150 to $1,200, depending on the model of car. These days, if your car is within the past 5 years, been manufactured in the past 5 years, you're looking at a pretty expensive price tag to replace the converter. The thieves go after the platinum inside, and they get, I don't know, about $15 worth of platinum after they rip this catalytic converter out from underneath your car. Then you got to take it to the shop, and there you go, $1,200 bill.
Okay, well, one of the things that the police department does, in addition to dealing with the amount of property that's stolen, in the catalytic converter case, you got two figures. One is the amount of the property stolen. In that case, it'd be $15, right? Yeah. And how much to replace it. That's the damage. And the police have done that. Are keeping up with the amount of property that's stolen and the financial damage that's caused. And as I've told you before, they had about $2 million worth of property stolen in March of this year. In 1 month, $2 million worth of property was stolen, whether it was a car, whether it was a catalytic converter, whether it was a wallet, money, whatever it was. But the damage for the year, for the whole year, was in 2011 was $5,555,000. $5.5 million in damage that these bums cause, and it's really it's a big deal, really a big deal. Now, I've been on kind of a tirade about this property crime thing, and there was a guy arrested in April of this year. He was charged with theft and fraudulent use of a credit card. He was stealing things from cars, breaking a window in parking lots, and using the credit cards that were stolen to make small purchases in various stores around Lexington. Now, this guy that was caught has over 30 previous convictions for similar offenses and 4 previous violations of parole when he was on parole. He was on parole at the time of his most recent arrest. He told detectives when he was caught that breaking into cars is what I do, and I'll do it until the day I die. So, in 2006, this guy was convicted and sentenced to 12 years, but the judge probated him. Why? Because it's a non-violent property offense. He'd break a window, get into a car, and steal what he could. Typically at gyms where people go in and work out, that sort of thing, and what do people do? They don't take their wallets in, they leave them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what he would do. He got 12 years, but probated. Then in 2007, he got caught again doing the same thing, breaking into cars and stealing stuff. And he got 13 years for a total of 25 years. He was finally sent to prison for a total of 25 years. How long did he serve? About 3 years. And then he got out in December of 2011, and in April he's arrested doing the same thing. So he wasn't lying when he says, this is what I do, and I'll do it until the day I die.
Well, the thing about this particular criminal is they are your most prolific criminals, and really they're the hardest to catch. And I'll give you an example. If you have a homicide, that person generally has a connection to the murder victim. That person normally leaves a lot more clues behind. And just by virtue of the fact that it's a murder, you're going to have more resources go into catching this person. So murderers are easier to catch than someone who breaks into several cars. The other issue that we have is this little loophole in the law, as I call it. If a police officer, let's say this guy breaks into your car or he rips a catalytic converter out from underneath your car. 2 days later, the police pull him over and they actually find your catalytic converter in his vehicle.
Catalytic
converter. They find it in his vehicle. Okay. The officer cannot charge him for the damage that he did to your car, the $1,200. He can only charge him for the value of the converter itself, even though the officer may know he's the one that took it. You just got to prove that he took it. You got to have a witness, or he's got to confess to that. You got to have direct evidence
that it came from a specific car,
or he winds up with a misdemeanor.
Right.
Is my point. So this guy winds up with a gazillion misdemeanor arrests, which they give no love for. In fact, the legislature would prefer that you issue a citation for misdemeanor arrests.
Ticket.
Misdemeanor. They don't even want you to take him to jail for misdemeanors now. Even though you're like, yeah, I understand this guy has the converter, which doesn't have much value in itself, but he also broke the car to get it, and he cost this poor guy $1,000. And one has nothing to do with the other as far as the law is concerned. So time and time again, these officers wind up arresting these people, or now citing these people, issuing them citations for this, and it's very frustrating. Because this guy was just.
You think it's frustrating? You think it's frustrating to the police? Listen to what a woman, the victim of this guy, said. My window was broken out of my vehicle, and my handbag containing credit cards and money were stolen. He took my credit card and used it twice at a gas station and once at Walmart. The detective picked him up based on the surveillance video, and he was arrested. Now, here's what she says. This is a quote from her. I work my butt off every day in my hometown of Columbia, Kentucky, which is 105 miles from our apartment in Lexington. I live there because my son is finishing his last 2 years of high school at Lexington Christian Academy. I get up every morning at 4 a.m. and commute, work all day, and spend another 2 hours coming back to Lexington. I've done this for 2 years, and I work for everything I have and everything in my handbag, and it kills me that someone has the audacity to violate someone that never bothers anyone. This guy has no idea what it's like to really work and provide for his kids. Now that is a victim.
Tune into the following stations to hear the full episode.